The president was very clear. This had to be a good agreement. No agreement was better than a bad agreement.
These negotiations were essentially about curbing Iran's nuclear program in return for suspension and then later on lifting of international sanctions against Iran.
I think it certainly made doing business much more difficult to have social media everywhere.
Those times of eating together, breaking bread together, always are useful in building the relationships you need when you're in the midst of such a tough negotiation.
I ask everyone to put their iPhone in the fridge.
I think from the outset, most people were rather skeptical and thought that the chances to get a deal were below 50% because everything came together. Enormous technical difficulties, complicated technical questions, and on the other hand, the political framework, which was also extremely difficult. So we had to deal with two challenges, a technical one and a political one.
Obviously, when you start to welcome these dignitaries and the amount of security, the amount of cars that arrived when I was standing in front of the hotel, for some minutes you feel like being in or looking at a Hollywood movie, but being part of it. It all started with, at the beginning, around 70 rooms. Bearing in mind the hotel counts 168 rooms. At the end of the talks, the hotel was fully booked.
I think it certainly made doing business much more difficult to have social media everywhere and to have our every movement recounted on Twitter. And my wife was always emailing me to ask why I was eating pizza on a random Friday night and not getting on a plane home.
We will make progress, we have made progress, and we will make progress.
Progress was made on the way forward.
We believe we're making progress.
We hope to make substantial further progress soon.
When Federica Mogherini was chairing a round with the ministers in Vienna during the endgame, when she had a heated argument with the Iranian foreign minister, and he said, never threaten an Iranian, and then the Russian foreign minister came in, nor a Russian. But then things calmed down very easily. But we had similar, probably, kinds of exchanges. We also had walkouts when I stood up and said, well, I'm not going to continue now for the day. But then we resumed early next day.
Are we going to have a deal? Are we going to have a deal?
We have made progress today.
Progress is being made.
Она пока еще не достигнута, но прогресс...
Making progress, we need to make some more progress in order to get there.
Just before midnight, when the top Iranian negotiator Abbas Araghchi posted something on his Instagram, the picture of Iranian supreme leader's hand as if he's signing off something. There is no commentary, but that picture was speaking for itself. That's when we thought there might be a deal. Later on, our cameraman caught the Iranian negotiating team, late night in their room. They were very relaxed, happy and smiley, going through that text, which ended up being the deal.
Secretary Kerry was the last person to speak, and he recounted that when he was 21, he went off to war in Vietnam. He made a commitment that he would do whatever he could in his life to make sure that there was never war ever again. And that's what he was about in this negotiation. The room was absolutely still. There was quiet. And then everyone, including the Iranians, applauded. Because I think for all of us, we understood that what we had done was to try to ensure peace, not war.